24/7.
24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.
You are listening to Bold Moves Radio. The show is Prudent Woman with myself. I'm Rulani Baloi. I am your host. Welcome. Thank you for all of you who are joining us on our YouTube channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. And you are invited to be part of this conversation. You know, in Prudent Woman, we say we spark conversation. So we want to have a conversation with you as much as I will be having a conversation with our professional who is in the house this afternoon. All of you listening to us on Bold Moves Radio, you are welcome. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to send through your comments, your questions, you can send them through 081 358 8745. 081 358 8745 via WhatsApp. We would like to hear your comments, any question you have with our guest this afternoon who is in the house. Thank you very much for joining us. And this is Prudent Woman on Bold Moves Radio. Yes, of course, every Sunday we come to you on different topics. As we say, we spark conversations. This afternoon, as we start the year 2024, we are saying as prudent women, we want to be intentional about our finances. There is no way we can end in a bad state like we did last year and only talk about it towards the end of the year, or only just come up with resolutions. But we're saying let's have resolutions and let's have conversations about it. Money is everything. And as women, let us rewrite, the statement that we have been associated with to say women are those who spend a lot. But let us rewrite that statement. This year, 2024, Prudent Women, let us make sure that we build a good and a healthy financial status for ourselves and our loved ones and our families, of course. Thank you very much. To help us in this conversation, I have with me Tshiamo. Tshiamo, she's in the financial services sector. She's going to talk to us about just the basics, for us to understand when we say someone is financially healthy. What is it that we talk about? What are the things that as prudent women, as we start the year, we must start looking at? Even as throughout the year, we will bring forth to you all these different areas of our financial status. We will talk about them. But for the
believe in us using the little resources that we have to maximize our potential as a people. So that's a brief introduction about who I am. I have siblings, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I am a co-worker, and it's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Tshiamo. It's wonderful. When I met this beautiful woman, she said to me she loves being in Limpopo, because I was interested to understand why relocate and come to Limpopo. And she said, beyond everything, she came through to Limpopo because she wanted to be in Limpopo, not to look for a job, but just appreciating the beauty of this province. And it's not every time where you find someone with such observation, because most of us, as we stay in our different areas, we're not able to pick up the good things about our area. So I wish we can clap hands on our province, those who are based in Limpopo or those who come from Limpopo, to say there's someone who was born and bred in Gauteng, but is able to see the beauty of Limpopo and say, I'm relocating to that wonderful province. Because majority of us, I was saying to her, majority of us want to do it the other way around. We think everything happens in Gauteng. But to know that there are those who come down to Limpopo, it's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Sis Tshiamo. And we look forward to learning from you as we start this conversation. Please go ahead and tell us, when we say someone is financially well, I want us to start with this question so that each one of us can find ourselves in your explanation. When we say someone has got a good or a healthy financial status, what is it that we're referring to?
Whenever I hear health, or when the majority of the people hear health, they refer or run to physical health and now mental health. As in those two professions, there are ways of measuring or seeing if a person is financially well. You can see with someone who is physically fit or physically healthy, when they go for an examination at the doctors, the doctor will say that let's check your HBMI, let's check your blood levels, let's check your blood pressure, let's check your sugar levels, and let's also check your pulse. If they are all in order, you are said to be physically healthy. There's nothing that's alarming them to say that let's take further steps. So that's on the physical side of health. Mental health, again, they also psychiatrists and psychologists, they also follow a certain guidelines to determine if a person is mentally sound, and then if there is a concern, they will take further steps. Now, when we come into the financial side of things, we cannot say financial without us defining what exactly is finance.
Yes.
So when I checked out and I was like, okay, what is finance? There are two ancient meanings that finance is actually derived from. The first one is a Latin word and the other one is Old French. So the Latin one, it says finesse, right? Finesse.
Okay.
And then in Old French, it is fin or fine. And the two, they mean the same thing. It means put to an end or settle. And when we put it in a sentence, it says settle your debt or end your debt.
Okay.
Right? So these are the ancient definitions
of
where these were derived, where the word finance was derived. Now, in the 18th century, the English adopted the name, or they borrowed the name, and then they said finance. Instead of finesse or fin, they now say finance. Right? The simple definition of finance is the management of money. Right? But I also borrowed from one trusted source, Investopedia. I won't lie, it's my trusted source. I really like them. I like how they explain things. So Investopedia says that finance, it is the system that creates, circulates, and manages money. So 5 words to look at: system. What is a system? These are principles or procedures that need to be followed for a goal to be achieved. Right? System. Now, when we speak about creating, it means that we are now, you and I, we either have jobs or we have businesses. So we are then creating money by using the very things we have available to us. Now, when we're talking about circulation, we are talking about the different markets. So we're taking the goods and services that we have and we're taking them to the market for them to be bought and sold, right? Then we come to the management. And this is where financial services thrives. We need financial services to assist us in managing our money. Now, we will address management in a bit. When we talk about money, a lot of times we use money interchangeably with cash. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
Money, it is a means of exchange, right? It's a means of exchange. Now, if we're going to look back in time, there was bartering. There was barter trading. We're not talking value here. We're just talking about the exchange of things, goods and services. Now, back in the days, I used to come with my livestock. Okay, I wasn't there, but our forefathers, okay, not me. Okay, so the ancient people used to come to a marketplace and then they would exchange. One would give their livestock, another one would give tools, so that they can use those tools to bring diversity on their farm. They are not only going to be livestock farmers, they are also going to be people who grow crops. Okay, so it goes back to where? It goes back to creating of money, right? Now, management of money. Management of money, it speaks about we cannot manage money if we do not have goals.
Yes.
What are you managing? Let's come to a household unit. What are we managing if we do not have a place that we are going to as a unit? If we want to buy a house together, we must manage the funds here at home in order for that goal to be reached. If we want to take children to a better school, we must manage our finances so that we can take the children to better schools. Sometimes management says, take a back step or do a lifestyle change, downgrade, as painful as it is, downgrade, and the help of professionals comes in, it kicks in beautifully here when we are managing. And I think we will expand, as we go along with the conversation. But there are 5 things when it comes to finance. It is a system, meaning that there are principles and procedures that we need to follow. We are creating money, be it assets and assets and cash in this instance. So we are working to ensure that we get money, and then we use the money that we have attained to exchange for goods and services, and then what we bring home, we manage in order for this cycle to continue. So what does it mean for a person who is what do we mean when we say a person is financially healthy or well? We are saying that this person has an income.
Yes.
They are able to attain that which they need, and sometimes even wants from the market. And then they come back home, they are able to manage their finances so that they are able to make a better life in future. So that's a person who is financially well. One makes an income, buys what they need, and then manages for the future. That's a financially well person.
Wow. I see one of our viewers saying she never looked or thought of having the explanation, the definition of finance. And as you say it fits very well. It helps one to understand how to handle this thing called money. And as you say, you need to have a goal. How many of us are we having a goal? As I said, I'm asking this question as we start our conversation so that each one of us, let us be honest in our own space and ask, do we have that, or we just wake up, go and look for this thing called money without a goal of what is it that we want to do with it when we come back. Then we will not manage it because you've got no purpose. You have no goal. You don't know which gears to use in order for you to attain your goal. Let us go on an ad break, and when we come back, we shall continue with this conversation. It's going to be very interesting. We learned a new thing, the definition of finance today. Thank you very much. Let's go on an ad break. You are listening to Bold Moves Radio. The show is Prudent Woman with myself, I'm Rulani Baloi, and I have with me this afternoon says Tshiamo Shoba. She's from the financial services sector. We are talking about financial wellness. Before we went on an ad break, she was talking to us about what is it that we see in a person whom we can say they are financially healthy. And she brought in a very interesting angle, the definition of money. And if you hadn't joined by that time, please go back later and listen to that definition, because it gives a purpose of how to engage this resource called money, something that most of us would not look at. And I believe, says Tshiamo, it's what leads us to have this myth, immediately someone says, are you financial well? You start thinking only those who have got a lot of money will have a healthy financial status. What is your view on that myth, to think it's only who are earning more money who will be financially well?
Rulani, I'm going to ask a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Do we all have credit scores?
I'm sure very few. Most especially because we come from a background, when you talk credit score, I'm sure what went into other people's minds, including myself, is credit bureau. And we don't want to look at it, we want to run away, because that one, I don't want to look at it. It's those things that I'm saying, I better not know. I'll get to know when I get to the bank wanting credit. And I'm sure those of you who know these things, you are surprised. Why did this person even bother? Because her status is so bad. She should have just stayed at home. So that's what comes to my mind. And I'm sure most people, that's what has come to their minds.
I know it was a random question, but I'm asking it because that is a misconception, to think that because you are earning little money, you are not regarded as one who qualifies to be financially healthy. For as long as you are earning an income,
Yes,
or for as long as you are one who desires to earn an income. I'm talking about people who are currently employees, people who are in business. And again, it doesn't matter how small your business is or how small your salary is. Here we are not addressing income brackets. Here we are talking about financial wellness. Now, financial wellness, if you are a person who has goals, one day you might find yourself in a situation where you want to take up a loan. You must know as to how to build a good credit score.
Yes.
Right? It's never too early to say that I am building a credit score. There's something that one of my friends, or should I say a former colleague, once made mention of. He said that him at home, what they did is they got him a credit card.
Okay.
He was still in school. They got him a credit card. I know that there are also issues around credit cards. Yeah? There are issues. And I believe, Mambolo, it's something that can be discussed another day.
Yes.
But this guy was given a credit card by his parents, linked to the parents' bank account. Fine. What they did was they pumped money into his credit card. Right? He wasn't using credit. He was just using the card.
Yeah.
Ne? He was using the card. The more he used it, the more money was made available to him. Where am I going with this? If you are a person who desires to expand your business, this is a tool that you could use. Do not abuse it. Do not abuse it. So people who are earning less, there are ways that you can build your credit score because you have a goal. I am bringing this because you do have financial goals. For you to achieve them, there are ways that
Yes.
you can use. Remember, we spoke about processes and procedures to follow in order to attain a goal or to achieve a goal. So there are measures in place, there are principles to follow in place in order for you to achieve those financial goals. Never ever tell yourself that I am earning less, so I cannot be financially healthy, or I am earning less, I will never move out of this income bracket to the next one. You need to create ways for yourself to move out of that lower
Yes.
income bracket to the next one, so let's not confuse wealth with financial wellness. You still have a household to run. That very income that you are generating, you need to buy food, you need to go to work, you need to give to the children, you need to to pay for fees, you need to pay for a lot of things to keep the family going. So if you are not managing the money, that the little that you have, then we're going to have issues going forward, right? That's why we end up having people who go to loan sharks.
Yeah.
When you go to loan sharks, you have started digging a hole, a bottomless pit. Yeah, you have started with a bottomless pit, and it's going to take professionals and some years for you to be pulled out of that dark dungeon. So it is a misconception to say that only people of a certain income bracket qualify to be financially healthy, because income has nothing to do with financial health. It is about discipline and managing your money properly.
Thank you very much for clearing that misconception, because I know when we talk financial wellness, we tend to think it's only those who are earning so much money. And I would like to believe, from the definition that you have given, the explanation you have just given now, I can be earning 6-digit salary, but be very bad when it comes to my finances. So, and I can be earning 4-digit salary, but doing very well. So it's all about making sure that you have goals and you've got ways of attaining your goals, and make sure that this resource finance helps you to pay your debts at the end. So at the end of each and every month, you must be able to pay your debts. I see one of our viewers saying here that you can be financial well just by being able to meet your current needs and wants, and neglect that portion that you were saying about creating a better life for the future. So it's very important there must be a balance. But Tshiamo, before we go on a break, I want us to talk about, someone may be asking, okay, I hear about this financial wellness. What will be the things, maybe the habits that I must inculcate in my daily life that should be able to help me to start building my financial wellness?
I think we can start here. Accept, before we even get to habits, accept where you are.
Yes.
Accept where you are. And I will say it again. Accept where you are financially. I'll say it again for the third and last time. Accept where you are financially. The reason why I'm saying this, it is because we fall into the trap of wanting to keep up with the Jones.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in Limpopo. Keeping up with the Balois.
Yes.
Keeping up with the Balois and the Matlalas, don't move away. Move away from all of that. Do not be intimidated by the success of other people. You do not know their journey. You do not know how are they creating. You do not know how are they circulating. You do not know how they are managing. So mind your own business. That's the first thing that I would say. Mind your own business and do not live to please other people. I know it's something that is said a lot, but I want to say it again so that it sticks. I agree with the people who have said it before me, and I will say it again. Do not keep up with your friends who seem to to be doing better than you. And I deliberately used seemed
Yes.
or seem, because sometimes we think that people are doing well until we sit down with them and understand their financial status, right?
Yes.
So do not keep up with the Jones. That's the first thing. Another thing is, I believe so much in accountability partners. My colleague and I have been trying to lose weight. We will get there, but we haven't been good accountability partners. Find somebody who will push you. Tell them what is it that you would like to achieve, and they will hold you accountable. These habits, they do not, it goes back, Mambalwe, it goes back to one having goals. If you are not chasing after something, then it won't be necessary for you to be disciplined. It won't be necessary for you to say that, okay, I'm going to have a budget, and then with this budget of mine, I'm going to ensure that I buy everything that's on my list. And anything that is outside of what we have agreed upon as a family unit, I'm not going to get. Others will say that spoil yourself within reason. Spoil yourself within reason. This whole thing of you only live once and you are reckless with money, it will not speak to your future. So again, I cannot emphasize this enough. It is important to have a goal, because that goal will motivate you to remain grounded and rooted, and it will help you when making decisions. I think I will leave it here. We'll expand. There's a lot to say.
Yes. I can
say.
see there's a lot to say, but thank you very much. What you are giving to us is very helpful, because, unfortunately, in our curriculum as a nation, financial management is not there. That's one area that's lacking. And I know, because now there's a lot of forums and platforms where those who are in leadership are talking about this thing. We have seen the need for financial management as a skill to be taught. And I trust that as we continue as a nation, we will have that somewhere in our curriculum, because it's very important. If you look at a child when they are born and taken to school the first day, what is in our mind is to go and capacitate them to make a living, to earn this resource, money. But unfortunately, it's surprising. Why is it not in the curriculum? Because we were supposed to be taught about making money, about managing money before we can make it. Because how can you make something and you are not taught on how to manage it? So we appreciate so much this type of conversations, because they help us as prudent women to go back and look at it and say, how is my financial status? How can I turn the tide around? And it's never too late. I love what you're saying. And even to say, you live once. You live once is true, but you don't know for how long. And if you are reckless, you will live long and be miserable, because every day you wake up, there are calls, people demanding their money, and you live an unfulfilled life. Why will you not want to invest in a future, which of course you are not certain, but one thing that you are certain about is that you've got loved ones that you shall live in this world, and the word of God says you must provide for them, for your children and your children's children, to the third generation. So again, there you will be doing something that the Lord has commanded us to do. So when you are living once and eat all your money, it means you are also committing an error in terms of what we have been commanded to do by our God. Thank you very much for being here. Let us go on an ad break, and when we come back, we shall talk on the different vehicles that one should look at, just in summarized version, because as she says, there's a lot of things that we can say. And of course, we're going to have conversations on finances as we go throughout the year, because a prudent woman can never be complete without their purse being well taken care of. Yeah, it's about time we don't only work on getting the expensive bags, but make sure that what is in the expensive bags actually is of value. Thank you very much. Let's go on an ad break.
24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana, oh Afrika nakupenda sana.
You are listening to Bold Moves Radio. The show is Prudent Woman with myself. I'm Rulani Baloyi, and this afternoon we have a wonderful woman, Tshiamo Shoba. She's in the financial services sector. We are talking about financial wellness. Before we went on an ad break, she spoke to us about the different habits that you can inculcate to make sure that you work towards your wellness financially. And as you were talking, Tshiamo, you mentioned something about being mentored, something which I believe is very key when you talk financial wellness. And as we said, unfortunately, in our curriculum as a nation, we don't have financial management. This thing has never come up. So you come across it as you go, as you do life, you know. If you are fortunate enough, if you have loved ones who have gotten to know about these things, you get to know about it. But it's not everyone who is fortunate enough to be able to know about these things. And that's why, as Prudent Woman, we are bringing to you this type of conversations to say, let us be intentional about our money and let's look forward to the future on how we want to see ourselves. And she said to us, you ought to have a goal financially in order for you to be well. Says Tshiamo, as you were talking about mentors, I agree with you that you need a mentor. And within the financial services sector, I know those are financial advisors. And unfortunately, we come from an era where financial advisors, especially us people of color, they were introduced to us not as financial planners or advisors or as coaches or mentors. They were introduced to us as salespeople.
Yes.
And although legislation is changing, because, you know, that's the beauty of our democratic government. We have been brought in. I always say there may be bad things that are happening, but there are much greater good things that are happening because our government realized that as people of color, we were excluded from certain things. And they brought in legislation that forces to say no more salespeople, but it must be people who mentors people to become financially well. If I don't have, or I still have that belief of saying a financial advisor is a salesperson, what is it that you can advise me to say, what should I look forward to, or how should I start engaging a financial advisor, and what should I look at?
Okay. So, you know, I love how you explained everything. Because like I said, Black people are my heart. I love our people so much. So with regards to financial advisors, previously there were people who were selling funeral covers. And we are seeing the rise of ethical individuals in our African communities.
Yes.
People who are doing amazing things, people who are advising and who are giving us insight on how to better plan for our future. Previously, it was a question of should I die? Now it's a thing of now that we are living longer, how do we make these resources sustain us for a long period of time? Now, when you're going to a financial advisor, planner, or banker, I think it's important that you understand their role. What they do is that they provide holistic planning, holistic financial planning. If you're a person who's doing business, they will assist you with business planning. If you are a person, an individual, they will assist you with planning for the future. We look at risk benefits, we look at investments and savings, you know, because all these things encompass your financial well-being, you know. So I have spoken about business planning, I've spoken about your personal planning, and also estate planning. Because I was speaking to Mambaloi earlier on, saying that we as African people, we don't know how to plan for our estate. Someone said that we die poor, but rich on paper.
Yes.
So when engaging a financial planner, you go to them and say, I do not want to die poor. I do not want to die poor and rich on paper. How do we amend that? I have financial goals, but I don't know how to achieve them. I have a business, but I don't know how to secure it and how to invest. Sometimes there are big deals that come through. You don't know what to do with the money.
Yes.
Consult a financial advisor, consult a banker, consult a financial planner. Those are the people who can assist you in that regard with planning for the big money that has come in, so that you do not waste the money. Because in business, as you know, there are dry seasons and there are seasons of plenty. When we have seasons of plenty, we do not live as if there's no tomorrow, as if there won't be a dry season. There must be sustenance. We must plan for sustenance. So then you need to go to speak, engage your financial plan and say, okay, during those dry seasons, how can we plan for those? We speak about emergency funds. How do we build those emergency funds? Because a car breaks down. As much as you have a motor plan, sometimes your motor plan won't cover everything.
Yes.
It will require you to dip into your pocket. So if you do not build that emergency fund, you will find yourself wanting. So have conversations with your financial plan. And I just want to talk a little bit here on the emergency fund. With regards to emergency funds, some institutions say that it should be the equivalent of 2 months salary. Others say 3 to 6 months. Others say 12. Be realistic.
Yeah.
Be realistic. Sit down with your planner or your financial advisor or banker and come up with what you can afford.
Yes.
Even with you building that fund, it shouldn't leave you in a state where you cannot afford to continue living, and do not overstretch yourself. But now, these are the things that you need to discuss with your financial advisor. Again, business planning, estate planning, your personal financial planning, because it encompasses a lot of things. And so that's how you can engage. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. You do not go there without a goal, because they won't. What are you working on?
Yeah.
What are we working towards? How will I help you when you don't know where you're going? So please, I think because we're still early in the year, this is just the second month. We still have 10 months to go. There are still people who are doing their vision boards. I think this is something to add onto your vision board. Go pay a visit to a financial advisor, banker, or planner and ask them, okay, this is what I would like to achieve in 3 years' time, in 2 years' time, after a year, and then you filter it in onto your vision board.
Wow, that's wonderful, because you're showing us the need of making use of the very people that we've always received on the other side, because, it pains you when you realize that you have someone who is supposed to be a financial advisor, but when you do not know how to engage them, when you do not go to them with a goal, you miss out on that. And as you say, we're starting to have a lot of ethical people. I would like to believe it's because government has started to invest more on the people of color to make sure that they are well trained, because previously they were not well trained. They were trained to push the product, but now legislation forces them to be trained to be financial advisors, to help you to build your wealth. So they're our Josephs. I would like to link them to that, because Joseph in Egypt had to tell Pharaoh to interpret his dream, to say, during the time of plenty, let us take this percentage. Everyone must pay this percentage towards the investment of the nation. So even us in our families, we need to do that. If God will instruct Pharaoh to do that, and we see Egypt taking over, all the nations going to Egypt to go and bow to be able to be fed, it means there is something in investment. There is no way we can miss this one. And as you were talking about the emergency fund and saying, even if you have a motor plan, I've noticed we tend to do something, especially those people who are self-employed, the and with the notion of living once, we have a misconception of believing things like a medical aid is expensive. I mean, I equate a medical aid to a motor plan for myself. And I equate a medical aid to an investment for myself, because if I don't do it, it means that day when it comes, I may not be able to get that attention that I require, and everything may stop. When you don't pay your motor plan or you don't have money for your car, if it breaks down, it will remain there. You can no longer use it as a tool. And myself, I'm the most precious tool. I just want you to just zoom into that one. Just to, you said about the being realistic. We cannot leave it out because it's not everyone who can afford a medical aid. But I believe there are products in the market that assists you. If you cannot meet this one, there's this one. Just a snippet of that, because as we start the year, I know most of the medical aids, some are changing and all. I just want you to just bring that snippet for everyone to understand that there's something that you can try to afford.
So there are different benefits under the medical umbrella. So there are those, again, even under medical aid schemes, there are different offerings, right?
Yes.
So there is a premium, there is, and I'm going to use, allow me to use minerals. There is the bronze, there's the silver, there's gold, and then there's platinum, right? So platinum is the highest. This is amongst medical aids, and it speaks to different income brackets, right? Those different medical aid packages, they speak to different income brackets, and not only that, but they also speak to the needs of families. Okay? We spoke about being realistic. We will address someone who's not working. Now we're speaking to someone who is working. With being realistic, you know that you have a child who has a chronic illness, and they need specialist attention. It's important that you explore the different packages and go for one that will be convenient and affordable for you, right? If you have the resources, meaning money, if you have enough funds to afford a package that speaks to your family, please go for that. But if you need the bare minimum, doctor's visits, hospital cover, maternal cover, the bare minimum, then go for that package too, right? Now, when speaking to people who are the lower income brackets, there are medical insurances. Now, medical insurances, you can pay as little as 300, right?
Yes.
Some cover, depending on who is the service provider. You can shop around and see who is offering you a better benefit. There are some who will pay you when you are hospitalized. Some, they cover your doctor's visits and medication. It really depends. So there is something for everyone in the market, So you can either go the health insurance route, or you can go the medical scheme route, but also going into the packages that speak to the needs. Is here we need to be quite clear about the needs of the family, because there's no point of wasting money or sitting on money whilst a child or your mother is suffering. They are standing in long queues, or they sit in long queues for a long time, whereas you can afford them the comfort of going to a GP or going to a specialist. If you can afford it, part with that money and make life easy for that person who is in your family. When you do not have, it's a different ball game. You cover yourself with what you can. So I think it's also an issue of prioritizing. It's another habit that we need to work on, prioritizing. Listen, there's no point in you buying an expensive car and having a medical aid that does not speak to the needs of the family. You will drive that car to a and you will complain about the poor service. It won't be nice. So let there be a balance. Don't be someone who is lopsided. Assess your needs. And this is another thing that financial advisors do. They do a needs analysis. And this is where the legislation again has led them to do a needs analysis. They'll sit down with you and say, okay, you have this and that in your family. I mean, if you are someone who's HIV positive, you know that is a chronic illness. You need a certain type of treatment and you need certain support. So if you can afford it, do it.
Wow. How, as you talk to us on the medical aid, what I hear coming up, and I see most of our listeners here are saying, it's being able to link your needs to a medical aid. And that's something that we were never told, we always chose the medical aid based on affordability alone, and which is an error. It must be affordability from what you are saying, affordability together with the needs of the family. As you mentioned, the chronics and all those things, because these are products which have been put together wanting to meet the needs of specific people. And unfortunately, we did not know. But today, Prudent Women, we now know and understand. And if you still have that window to change certain things in your medical aid, please go ahead and do it. It's in the beginning of the year because, says Tshiamo, I believe this is what leads us. I have a medical aid, but I'm always paying a lot of money. And sometimes it makes you give up and think it's not working. It's not working because you were using a wrong spanner to unlock the wrong bolt, So you have not been using the right spanner to unlock that bolt. So let us go back and let's research. And medical aids, they are very compliant with legislation. They send all those information. I'm one of them. I don't read. I take them. I put them away in my cupboard, and then they gather dust. And somewhere in June, when I'm cleaning, I'm taking out the envelopes and I never open. Like it's medical aid. And maybe someone is like me. I believe someone is like me. But today you taught me something. It's so that I can assess my needs. And a financial advisor must be able to do that. And when we go to them, we must be faithful, because if you tell them the wrong information, they will assess you based on the wrong information and not give you the right spanner. So you need to do that. Oh, how wonderful it is to have you sitting here, says Tshiamo. But time is not on our side. I see we are towards the end of our show. Every time, whenever we have a guest here in the house, the Prudent Women who follows this program, and they are always here, they will be saying, no, we need 2 hours, but we have to have an hour because there are other programs that are coming. But I would like to believe we have met our objective, is to spark conversations. And as a prudent woman, you will go and make that research. Deep down, check what is it that I ought to do. But I promise you, this year, 2024, we shall go deep in our understanding of our finances. We are saying the fact that we were not taught when we growing up, we were taught on other ways of making money, but we were not taught on how to manage it. Can never be an excuse. We shall learn together. We will become prudent on how we handle our finances. And together, we shall be wealthy at the end of the year. Because she has also said to us, it's not about you having tons and tons of monies, but it's about you having a goal and being able to manage it and employ it in the different needs that you have and taking care of yourself. And I love it when you say, spoiling yourself, it's okay, but spoil yourself reasonably within the correct means. Don't go overboard. Don't become unrealistic, because as women, when we say we're spoiling ourselves, we become unrealistic. You see myself saying I want to hire a chopper and go Gaiga. And it was the whole salary is gone. Now I cannot even meet my needs. I focused on a want for the whole month's income, which cannot be right. Before we draw close to the end, I just want you to say something around this myth, this narrative. I just want us as women now, and as she's saying it, let us also think about it as women to say, how can I change this narrative if I'm part of those? We are said to be the species that has a lot of impulsive buying. And that's what leads us or lands us in problems. Either you start with the problem in the beginning of the year, or it is later. Impulsive buying as women. What will you like to say around that issue? How can I manage that? That thing, money. It's an iniquity that follows us as women.
It's seriously an iniquity. I'm a fallen victim of it myself. However, I believe that it can be rectified. I would like to start here. I love what we as Black people do. We are very organized. I don't think that we realize it, but we are very organized people. If you want that bag, and I've seen this, I've seen women doing it. If you want that bag, that's expensive. How about we pull funds together and buy that bag? Because it won't be an impulsive purchase if we plan for it, right? So we can put together, let's start putting together also stockpiles for all those things that we want if we are able to afford. If people can put together stockpiles for building houses, if they are able to put together stockpiles for buying Italian furniture, it means that we can do the same as women for those bags that we desire.
Yes.
So I think when it comes to impulsive buying, it requires us to be really disciplined. Let us be disciplined. Again, it goes back to the goal. If you have that goal, you know that, okay, I might have this 5,000 right now, and I want to buy that bag or that shoe. Pause a bit. Ask yourself, do I need it or do I want it? Sometimes we will say, I need to want it.
Yeah, so that they can be that needs.
I need to want it, but can we not need to want? Let us not have gray areas. Let it be either black or white.
Yes.
Either a need or a want. If it isn't a need, pause. Or even when you are about to make an irrational decision, you can sense, man, when you are about to do something irresponsible. Some of the words that we say is, I work hard.
Yeah.
So I deserve
to justify myself.
So can we have people? We went back earlier on. I mentioned accountability. Have people that can hold you accountable. People who have your best interest at heart. People who are saying we are all pushing and pulling together in the same direction. Have like-minded people around you. Again, let it be as clear as day. Let black be black, white be white. A need is a need, a want is a need. We do not want to need. We're not going to use the phrase, I work hard so I deserve this. Yes, you do work hard, but let's consider your goals and where you want to go to. The community that you keep determines your purchasing patterns. So start analyzing Wobani, who are the people that you are hanging out with? Because these are the people who are influencing your psyche. So association is also important. Maybe there are some people that you need to. I'm not for cutting people, but sometimes distancing yourself so that your decisions are your decisions and are not influenced by the lifestyle of other people. So be conscious of who is whispering in your ear. I'm sorry, I'm going to quote one scripture. John 1, it says that do not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, right? So if you do not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, it means that you are walking in the counsel of God or of the godly. So keep people who are godly around you. And people who are godly, they are governed by the principles of the word. In the word, we are not wasteful. We have seen when Jesus had fed the multitudes, he gathered. He said that let's gather the fragments that remain.
Yes.
They could have fed them to birds, but no, they gathered the fragments that remain. So if we employ such principles, remember when I gave the definition, I said these are principles or procedures that need to be followed. Maybe we need to revisit how you process things because we need to fix the principles that govern your purchase.
Wow, we cannot thank you enough, Sis Tshiamo. I see a lot of our viewers and our listeners are saying they wish to see you again. They've learned so much. Thank you very much. You taught us something so precious, something that unfortunately we could not learn in those classrooms, but we were taught on how to go and get more of it, not how to manage it. So this is a very important lesson that you are bringing to us. Thank you very much. We do not have much time, but as you bid our viewers farewell, I would like you to say anything that you feel we should have said during the show that we could not get to talking about it.
When you started with the conversation, Ma, you said, here we spark a conversation.
Yes.
As we were speaking earlier on, there's one thing that's seated deeply in my heart. We as Black people, we do not plan for what happens after our death. And that leaves families in a bad state. And like I said, an organized people. You should see our funerals. We are very organized. You should see our weddings. We are very organized. But what happens after the funeral? It is a problem. We are going to the magistrate's court. We do not have an executor. There is just a mess at home. We don't know even where to go after that. Because also we do not have financial advisors that we know can assist us. There are no people who are knowledgeable, or if they are, we do not want to listen to them. So I would say that can we take it upon ourselves and say that we are going to be people a legacy, people who invest a lot in estate planning, because it cannot just be other people get it right whilst we live in the same nation. You also, the very information that they have at their disposal, we also have it. So let's equip ourselves so that the coming generations also become trust fund babies.
Yes.
This thing, the generational wealth, it becomes a thing even amongst us. The creation of money and the circulation, it should be amongst ourselves too. The management, again, it should be amongst us too. So can we please go research and do better when it comes to estate planning?
Thank you very much. When you talk trust fund babies, when I went to university, there was a lot of white people. I went to a previously white university, and you'll find these white children, they were living well. And I had one whom I got close to, and she said, no, I get money from my trust fund, not from the parents. from the trust fund. And I desired from that day to say, I'm going to have trust fund babies, because I saw it's great, And
Yes.
as I always say, there is no way the freedom fighters will have fought for this country for us to buy expensive cars. They bought so that the wealth can be in our hands. And wealth is not in our hands when we receive it and pass it. It's in our hands when we receive it and keep it, and it circulates around us, as you are saying. Thank you very much. We cannot have enough time. And thank you to our technical team, DJ Messi. Thank you very much. What a wonderful time we had with Tshiamo. And of course, to our executive producer, Pastor Strike Mangani. Thank you very much. This is Bold Moves Radio. This is the show Prudent Woman with myself, Rulani Baloi. We come to you every Sunday at 4 o'clock up until 5 o'clock. And as I say bye, we are going to be having the living word with our favorite pastor, Pastor Fridama Tebula. She's coming right here in this platform at 5:30. And of course, on Tuesday, we've got the pair with a story to tell. That is Aventia and our lovely Dr. Shami. They will be coming on the very same platform at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. Thank you very much. Have yourself a blessed week ahead, and let us start to make sure that we create financial wealth in our lives as ladies. This year, when it ends, come December, we shall be rejoicing because we'll be healthy in all aspects of our lives. Thank you very much. Have a blessed afternoon.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika, nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika, nakupenda sana.